Hi friends, welcome back to Teaching in Room 9, our region's largest classroom. My name is Julia and I'm one of the second grade teachers at the Soulard School. Here for Teaching in Room 9, all my lessons focus on math for second graders, but everyone is always encouraged to join. Welcome back friends, it's great to see you guys here with me today and I'm really excited to be back together and learn some new math topics this week. All right, as you guys know, I love to start my lessons and activities with something called the Mindful Minute. I like to start our lessons this way so that we can really focus our body, recenter our hearts and our minds, slow down, and really be present in the moment. An easy way to be present in the moment is to be very aware of your 5 senses. So what can I see, smell, taste, touch, and hear right now in this present moment? So we're gonna go ahead and start doing some mindful breathing here together. And after we do some deep breaths, we're gonna jump right into our learning objectives this week and all the fun stuff I have planned for you guys. All right, so remember when we take deep breaths, we're gonna breathe in through our nose on the count of 3, and out through our mouth to the count of 3 as well. Try to loosen up your shoulders. Get rid of any tension you might be having. I like to sit up really nice and tall and straight so that I can really feel those deep breaths moving in and out of my lungs. All right, friends, ready? Breathe in through your nose. 1, 2, 3, and out through your mouth. In through your nose. 2, 3, and out through your mouth. 1, 2, 3, in through your nose. And out through your mouth. 1, 2, 3. Now that we're feeling really nice and relaxed, we're going to take a deep breath in, and as we breathe in, you're going to make a circle of your arms above your head. That way it really opens up your diaphragm and you can really get some deep breaths in. Ready? In through your nose. 2, 3, and out. 2, 3. Okay, breathe in through your nose again. 2, 3, and out through your mouth. 2, 3. Last time, deep breath in through your nose. 2, 3, and out through your mouth. 2, 3. As you're slowly bringing those arms down, I'd like you to roll your shoulders back a few times. Loosen up the tension you might be having. Now roll your shoulders forward. 2, 3. Okay, and then loosen up your neck. All I'm focusing on taking deep breaths in through my nose and out through my mouth. All right, how are you guys feeling? Did that help you to feel more centered or calm or focused and ready to learn? I hope so. I know that I'm feeling much more focused and centered, and I'm ready to get started with you guys today. All right, so our learning objectives or our learning goals for this week, I always like to put them in I can statements. So that way that you understand at home, what am I going to be able to understand or do at the end of all these lessons? So all my lessons this week have the learning goal of I can look for and make patterns. So all my lessons this week will focus on looking for and making patterns with geometric patterns. Geometric is a big fancy way to say shapes. So we'll focus all our lessons this week on looking for and making patterns, all focusing around shapes. And then next week, we'll take all of that amazing practice that we did together this week and apply it to number patterns as well. So you're going to see the same learning objective for next week as well. But we'll just kind of take it and continue or extend on to what we've been learning and practicing together this week. All right, so I kind of wanted to take a minute to talk to you about why we'd want to learn about patterns. Can I get a me too if you've practiced, learned, made patterns already before? Absolutely, right? Usually as early as pre-K and preschool and kindergarten, we start really practicing and making and building patterns all the time. So why in second grade are we still learning and focusing about patterns? Why do you think? Yeah, I'm hearing some good answers of friends that are understanding that learning and practicing and building patterns is really important for our math brains, right? We want to be thinking like a strong and smart mathematician, stretching our brain, adding in all sorts of different tools to our math toolbox. And that way it really helps us to be thinking like a mathematician, so that as we progress and we continue on with harder and harder math, we feel confident in our abilities to be able to look for and practice patterns, to make sense, to find logic, critical thinking, and reasoning. So I thought we could kind of go through this little chart right here, and that kind of helps you understand in your brain, why do I need to worry about building patterns? How does that help me to learn other things? All right, so it says at the top here, why build patterns? And you can see I created a little shape pattern right there underneath. Then right here in the center, it says, patterns are the heart of math. I put it in the center to kind of remind us that it is your heart, it is your lifeline. It is like a founding building block, a foundation for you to understand other and more challenging math concepts. And really at the root of all of it, patterns are there in so many different ways. And we're going to look at that together. It says here at the top, building patterns helps us to make predictions. We know that a prediction is our best guess. If I can understand certain pattern rules, then I can predict or make my best guess about what I think might happen next. And we can apply that prediction building and making skills to other more challenging math concepts or other content areas as well. Underneath here, it says it helps us see relationships. When we can understand pattern rules, we can see relationships, our connections between shape patterns, between number patterns, and then apply those to other skills that we are learning. Over here in the purple, it's got some kind of bigger words here, but we'll go through it together. It says, identify regularities and form general rules and concepts. Those are some big words, right? Identify means find or be able to point out. Regularities, that's a big word. I can see in there's that root word regular. It's like a similarity. So what are some of the similarities that I'm able to find? And then once I see those and recognize them, then I'm able to come up with general rules or concepts for my math brain to understand. I can recognize this rule, I see this pattern, I know it fits this rule, and that way I'm able to extend or build onto my pattern. Then I'm gonna pop over to this one over here. This one is kind of near and dear to my heart. It says, make a sense of order. The reason it's near and dear to my heart is because I often find if I think my schedule or what I have going on in my day starts to feel overwhelming or chaotic or kind of all over the place. I feel the same way if I'm dealing with my learning space either at school or at home, or maybe just like my room or my space at home. If it starts to feel chaotic, all over the place, and doesn't have a lot of rules or order to it, it starts to make me feel very overwhelmed. And I like to find ways or rules in order for me to make sense of all that chaos. So applying that to math, you can think of math as sort of this big cloud or world of numbers, shapes, rules, measurement, time, money, place value, all sorts of different things. And if you think about all of those different concepts and skills, it seems like all over the place. How am I ever going to learn it all? But being able to find and build patterns and recognize them and make sense of them helps to sort of create order and connections and relationships between math skills. So it all starts to kind of fall into place more. That kind of brings us down to some of the next topics. It says develop logic, and that goes along with this one down here. It says critical thinking skills. So being able to recognize patterns and practice them and extend them, and really training our math brain to be thinking in that way. How can I find rules? And how can I make sense of all this information? How can I find structure? How am I able to turn all these words or this problem into something that makes sense to my brain? So being able to recognize and work with patterns helps us create logic, develop those critical thinking, reasoning, and problem solving skills. And there are so many different ways that we practice being a problem solver, right? You can be a problem solver when you run into a problem that you might have with one of your peers or your classmates. You might need to solve a problem in social studies, science, math, reading. You might need to solve a problem all on your own. Maybe I need to figure out how I need to go best about my day. Okay, all of these different skills really come down to just being able to problem solve, and patterns really help us to do that. So that kind of leads us into this point here, which says foundations for learning, as I'm sure you're kind of able to hear and to understand as I'm going through this with you, that it's a very baseline foundation for learning. We're able to take that skill set, that way of thinking, and turn it into constructive ways to solve problems and apply it to all different types of learning. And so that goes along with this right here in blue. It says that we are able to see patterns in art, music, in nature, and when we're studying literacy and reading as well. So really training our brain to be thinking about patterns, finding relationships, making sense and order and logic out of whatever problem might be set in front of us that day. It helps us to feel confident and strong in being able to attack that problem and solve it in a way that makes sense, arrange it in a rule or an order. And then all the way down here, it just says, patterns build strong mathematicians. And that's what we want to be. We want to be a strong, confident mathematician. I don't always expect you to know everything, right? I just want you to feel strong and confident in your ability to at least try. You've got enough skills in your math brain and in your math toolbox to be able to stretch your brain and try different things. And it's okay to make mistakes. We just want to feel confident in our abilities to be able to make those mistakes and to try and to use all these different tools that we put in our brains about being able to recognize patterns and rules and relationships. So that way, once math starts getting way harder as we get older, we feel confident in our ability to solve. All right, so I hope that helps you at home to make sense of patterns and why it's important for us to talk about them when we've learned patterns for so many years. It's really more about training your brain and your eye to look at things in a math brain sort of way so that we're able to make sense of any problem that comes our way. All right, if you guys remember from last week, we were learning all about clocks and I wrote a song. So shocking, I wrote another song for you guys this week. Can I get a me too if you guys have heard the ants go marching? I figured that you have, right? My song that I wrote for us this week is to the tune of Ants Go Marching, and we're gonna learn the first two parts of it this week, and then we're going to build onto that next week, and we'll add to our song about, in addition to the shape patterns, we're gonna talk about number patterns, and so then hopefully at the end of next week, you will be able to sing the entire song along with me at home. All right, are you guys ready? A pattern, it goes on and on, hurrah, hurrah. A pattern, it goes on and on, hurrah, hurrah. A pattern, it goes on and on. It could be shapes or numbers too. And when we solve the pattern rule, then we can extend, bum, bum, bum. A pattern can be growing or repeating. A pattern can be growing or repeating. A pattern can be growing where you add on more and more each time, or the pattern will repeat in all these ways. Bum, 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 bum. Yay! Nice job, friends. I hope you enjoyed the beginning part of our song. So now we're gonna, same thing that we did last week, we're gonna go through the song and match it up and make those connections to our chart here. So looking at my chart, I see that it says geometric at the top, which we already learned means shapes. So this week we're focusing on shape patterns. Then we have our arrow to the definition of our pattern here, because as you can see at the bottom, we've got a lot of different vocabulary that we're going to be working on with patterns. So I wanna make sure that you understand. A pattern occurs or happens when something is repeated, right? A pattern, it goes on and on, hurrah, hurrah. So when you repeat and repeat, it goes on and on and on. And I'm already making a connection to a number line. A number line, the reason it has arrows on the end of that number line is because it goes on and on. I'm already starting making connections to numbers. Then it says, and arranged following a rule. Arranged just means that you're able to put it in order. If I'm arranging it into a rule, I'm going to put it in order based on that rule. So while we're talking about some of this vocab, why don't we jump down to this vocabulary section down here. So it says here, geometric pattern, a shape pattern. Then we'll deal with number patterns next week. Growing and repeating. So those are there, and then we'll focus on this and get into it a little bit more here in a second. Extend. So extend means if you were given a pattern, once you were able to figure out what that pattern rule is, then you can extend it. You can make it continue on and on. And then we talked about how it'll either be growing or repeating, decreasing and increasing is more going to be with our number patterns. But then it says our pattern rule and arrange. So we know that a pattern will be arranged or put into an order according to that pattern rule. So you have to be able to look at it, understand what that pattern rule is, and then you're able to extend the pattern. Now we're gonna look at growing and repeating. Growing means that you're adding on and on. A pattern can be growing where you add on more and more each time, or the pattern will repeat in all these ways. So when you hear that growing, you know you're adding on more and more each time. I'm looking at my first one right up here. I have a blue circle and I have one gray triangle. Blue circle. Then I have two gray triangles. Blue circle. Then I have three gray triangles. What comes next? Blue circle. And then you have how many gray triangles? You got it, 4 gray triangles. Then blue circle. And then how many? 5 gray triangles. Then you'd have another blue circle. And then you'd have 6, and it just keeps going on like that. It's growing because the number of gray triangles each time is getting to be more and more. All right, now we're gonna look at these orange circles. We started out with 3 orange circles. Then my growing pattern rule is that I'm gonna add 3. So I double it. So I went from 3, and then I add 3, so now I have 6 altogether. And then the next time, instead of adding 3, I'm going to add 4. So now I have 6, then I add on 4, that gives me a total of 10. Since I added 3, then I added 4, now I'm going to add 5. So now I have those 10, I add on 5 this time, which gives me a total of 15. Then I would add on 6, and it would continue on and on, getting bigger and adding 1 more each time. All right, so those are examples of growing patterns. They go on and on, but you're adding more each time. Now we're gonna pop over to this repeating side here. There are so many different ways that you can do a repeating pattern, just where it follows a rule. And there's lots more in addition to what we have right here in my chart. But let's kind of go through some of them just to kind of give you some ideas. And then I bet you are able to find even more or come up with your own patterns at home. So my first pattern here is an A-B pattern. When you make patterns, you can choose how you want to arrange them. Maybe you're arranging them by shapes. Maybe you're arranging them by colors or size or textures. There's all sorts of different ways to do it. here, we're going back and forth between colors and different shapes. I've got an orange triangle for my A, and then my B is a purple circle. Orange triangle, A, purple circle, B. Orange triangle, A, purple circle, B. It's starting to get to be a tongue twister, right? A, B, A, B. It goes back and forth. Then it gets a little more complicated, and we have A, B, B. So A is our yellow star, then B, B, blue heart, blue heart. Yellow star, blue heart, yellow star, blue heart. And it continues on like that. You have one and then two of the next one, and it just keeps going. Then we have the flip of that, the reverse of that. So instead of A, B, B, you have A, B. So you have orange square, I don't really know what this is, like a pink cloud. So orange square, pink cloud. Orange square, pink cloud. And it just keeps going on like that. So you have your two in the front, then your second. Two in the front, then your second. Then down here, this I can see we have all one shape, right? It's all circles. So my pattern is arranged by color this time. This is an example of an A, B, B pattern. We've got two blue circles, two yellow circles, two blue circles, two yellow circles, two blue, two yellow. And it just keeps going back and forth with the two, then the second two. And then the last one that I have on my chart here is A, B, and C. So we have two different types of triangles and one circle. So we have pink, purple, green, pink, purple, green, pink, purple, green. And it just continues on that way. So I thought with the rest of our time here together that we could start practicing some of these patterns here together. So I'm gonna try my best to be able to kind of organize and rearrange my computer so you're able to see. So I thought the first thing we could do was to practice a growing pattern. So I've got these manipulatives right here. They're just little cube squares, and that makes it really easy to stack on them. So if I start out with two, I've got two right here. So I'm gonna turn my computer a little bit so you can see down here, and I'm gonna try to kind of be in the picture here as well. So I've got two. Now if I wanna add on one more, how many do I have? Yep, you got it, 3. Now if I added on 1 the last time, and I'm doing a growing pattern, how many am I gonna add on this time? You got it, 2. Now I add on 2. 1, 2. So now I have 5 all together, okay? Now if I added on 1 the first time, 2 the second time, how many do I add on this time? You got it, 3. So I take 3 little cubes here, and I have 1, 2, 3. How many do I have all together? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I have 8, and I added on 3 the last time, so how many do I add on this time? You got it. You're so smart, friends. We add on 4 this time. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I now have this big, beautiful tower that you guys can see right here. All right, let's go ahead and count them all here together. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 all together, friends. Nice job. All right. So I thought we could also practice some of our repeating patterns here as well. So I'm going to set these cubes aside. And I want to encourage you to try to maybe go on a walk around your neighborhood and see if you can find some things around your neighborhood that you can turn into patterns at home. It's that time of year right now where there's lots of acorns and walnuts falling from the trees. Maybe you want to make a patterns with acorns and walnuts. We're starting to see a lot of leaves too are starting to fall from trees along with like little sticks and stuff as well. Maybe you want to add leaves and sticks to your patterns as well. Maybe you found some cool rocks on your walk around your neighborhood that you'd like to add. So I have sort of all these different examples of found materials that I was able to kind of put together. And then now I'm going to use those in order to make a pattern because not all of my friends maybe have these big fancy blocks at home. But everybody has a yard where they can go outside and find different materials to be able to make patterns.
So we have a very beautiful garden here at Soulard School, and it is overflowing with pumpkins at this moment. So we have a lot of cute little baby pumpkins. So I'm gonna add pumpkins to my pattern along with, I've got some rocks here as well. So I'm gonna set my rocks out and we're gonna practice some of these patterns. And I'm gonna turn this down just a skosh so you guys can see here as well. All right, so let's practice that A-B pattern, back and forth. So I have pumpkin, rock. Pumpkin, rock. Pumpkin, what comes next? How do we extend the pattern? Rock. You got it. We figured out that our pattern rule was A, B, so we went back and forth between two objects. So I've got 1, 2, 1, 2, or A, B, just like that. All right, now let's do our second one here was A, B, B. So we've got A, B, and B. So we have pumpkin, rock, rock. What comes next? So smart, friends. Pumpkin, then rock, rock. And then it would be pumpkin, rock, rock again if I wanted to continue extending on that pattern. Now, remember we said that A, B, B, we've got the next one is the flipped or the reverse of that is A, B. So I'm just gonna start on this side. Instead, now I've got rock, rock, pumpkin, rock, rock, pumpkin. What would be next? You got it, rock, rock, pumpkin. And it would continue on that way. So we got to practice all sorts of different patterns here together today, friends. We practiced A-B, A-B-B, and A-A-B. So tomorrow we will come back together and we're gonna practice A-A-B-B and A-B-C and practice making all sorts of different patterns. We just have to find that pattern rule. We'll review some of this vocabulary, repeating and growing patterns for our geometric or our shape patterns. And then we're going to use that in our math brain to be able to practice it and apply it to next week. We'll be learning all about number patterns as well. You guys did an amazing job here today. I'm really impressed with all my mathematicians out there. And I just want to say thank you for all your hard work, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Teaching in Room 9 is made possible with support of Bank of America, Dana Brown Charitable Trust, Emerson, and viewers like you.